attention, everybody. About ready to get this show on the road. Let me ask all the spectators to come up in front of the motorcycles. If you would, come on up in front of the motorcycles and sit on the gravel part. You don't have to get in the wet part.
Play with your daddy.
I bought you a helicopter.
Welcome everybody. We appreciate you coming out today to flag dedication. This is flag dedication to the Burke Tiger, the original Tigers. We'll get in there a little bit later. And we're going to start this thing off with a bang. We got started. We're going to uncover and we're going to let our chaplain from the Burke Tigers, Larry Smalls, learn the devotion.
Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, we adore thy love and providence in the history of our country, and especially would we thank thee for our Confederate history. We thank thee for his pure record of virtue, valor, and sacrifice, and for the inspiring recollection that despite its bitter disappointments and sorrows, it proclaims for us and to all the world that we came through its years of trial and struggle with our battered shields pure, our character as a patriotic and courageous people, untarnished and nothing to regret in our defense of the rights and of the honor of our Southland. Give us grace, our Heavenly Father, faithfully to accept thy will concerning us and make us all to glorify thee in a sincere obedience to thy holy commandments through the merits and meditation of thy Son, our only Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
We've got two new members of the Burke Tigers that we need to give a certificate to. We have our second lieutenant commander of the state of North Carolina, Andrew Johnson. He has these two certificates. So I'm asking for Ricky James Hauser and Jason Jeremy Hauser. Come forward. forward with it. The mechanized cavalry is bringing the flag in. They're going to pause up here in front of the crowd when they get here. Come right past the honor guard. And when they pause, we're going to give a minute or two. Anybody that wants to raise their hand on this big flag before it goes up, touch a big flag. This is your opportunity. Anybody that, when they stop up here in front of you, you can lay your hand on it for a few minutes. Come on up, honor guard. Come on up front of the crowd. If you want to touch it, come on forward, folks. The opportunity to touch a big mega flag. This flag is 20 feet by 30 feet, weighs close to about 40 pounds.
All right. Got you. You can be out here where you want to be, but speak to everybody can. Okay. Yeah. Damn. Take a picture.
Okay, while I got it hooking up yet, I'd like to have all the ladies and men of the Burke Tigers get over here on the road. We're going to use these two Hauser boys are going to be the first to pull it. So all the Burke Tigers in the crowd come over to the pole, and we're going to let the Hauser boys give them the first pull. Ladies, men, whoever wants to help get it to the top. But once it gets to the top, then the cannon crew is going to take over. All Burke Tigers, come on. If you're in the honor guard, come on. You got time to get back. Leave your gun there. Okay, the Hauser boys were putting it up for them. They got the first pull. Any ladies, get over and get in front of them men if you want to pull on that rope. Go ahead, ladies. Get over there. Let's wait on the ladies to get over and help out. Okay, the Hauser boys have done their pull. Let's let the ladies get a hold of it there just a minute. Ladies have got a hold of it. Okay, we'll let the men one at a time or whoever get a hold of it. A little ways. Anybody else that's in the camp, come and get a hold of it. This is the second mega flag on I-40 from the Tennessee line. Cherry Wilmington, I think. It's right on it, Interstate 40. Gonna have to get a hold of them big boys and get it up there. She's wanting to get in there, boys. Woo! Launch about 10 foot, boys. Anybody else want to pull on it? Let's get with it. We'll get back in place and we'll go ahead and do the rest of our program. And the first on the agenda is Smitty Smith. I guess nobody knows him. Smitty around?
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who came today. We're proud to dedicate the Burke Tigers flagpole today. This is the third mega flag here in Western Virginia, Western North Carolina. The North Carolina Division spends money on projects they feel important. The restrictions and rules they demand kept them supporting our cause. Instead, we asked SCV camps to help us with this project, and they stepped up. We feel this is the best way we can show our pride and honor our Confederate ancestors. Our feeling that these mega flag projects are the most visible and a lasting tribute to our forefathers. The public seems to agree with our vision. I would like to read a handwritten letter we received from a wonderful lady on her personal feelings on seeing our flags. I'm sure many feel the same. Dear sons of Confederate veterans, I am so proud of your organization for honoring our Confederate soldiers and our Southern heritage by flying the Confederate flags throughout Catawba County. I have been moved to tears every time I discover a new flag in a different location while driving around the countryside. They are inspirational and stirring. These present days of uncertainty that any of our beloved Confederate monuments and flags will survive the protesters and rally of those who just don't understand our love from Southern heritage, and the ones who want to destroy these are infuriating. Thanks again for actively making the Confederate flags permanent in Catawba County. These flags inspired her to send this personal letter, and we thank her from the bottom of our hearts. If the camps in North Carolina feel the same way, please let your feelings be known. Thanks for the outpouring of support for this project, and I assure you this will not be the last one we worked so hard to erect. This, like the other two mega flags in Western North Carolina, will be a lasting tribute to our men that wore gray. May God bless each and every one of us and give us strength and willpower to overcome the negative feelings so unjustly directed at us and those who support our cause. Like our ancestors, we will fight to defend our rights and honor our Confederate past. Thanks to all, and God bless Dixie.
Thanks, Smitty. Now, I'll jump in here and say something. We got some ladies that's walking around with little flags in a basket. What we're going to ask to do, they're going to make them give some of these out, but they're going to pass back through the crowd. And we asked that any donation that you want to give will go to the next mega flag. Whatever camp comes forward and gets ready to put up a new mega flag, we're going to give you what we take up and what we've got left over from our donations. I'll go over that in a little bit. So our next speaker is well known also, Mr. William Bill Starnes. If you come forward, he's got a couple words for you. Come forward, Bill. The historical something now.
Thank you, LG, and thanks to all of y'all for being here today. It really does my heart good to see this many people that something like this is important to. Now, all the time I've been in the Sons of Confederate Veterans, about 18 years, I wanted to know what my ancestor was doing on that battlefield. Not what he's doing with his rifle, but what was in his heart. Why was he on that battlefield? So I set out to find out. Because I heard a lot of people claiming he was out there to defend slavery. Nothing could be farther from the truth. There were no national laws or bills being debated in the United States Congress to end slavery nationwide in 1861 or preceding 1861. There was a 13th Amendment to the Constitution proposed and passed in the House and the Senate, sponsored by an Ohio representative and a New York senator, It was known as the Corwin Amendment, also known as the Slavery Forever Amendment. It was the original 13th Amendment. It forbade Congress from ever interfering with the institutions within the states, including those institutions holding people to service or labor. That is why it was known as the Slavery Forever Amendment. That passed in February and March of 1861. In Lincoln's first inaugural address on March the 4th of 1861, he endorsed that amendment, said he had no objections to being made express and irrevocable, said he had no intention of interfering with the institution of slavery in the states where it then existed. He said he did not believe he had the legal authority to do so and did not have the inclination to do so. Therefore, there was no national threat to the institution of slavery when our ancestors seceded from the Union. It simply was not. A lot of people want to refer to our ancestors as traitors and committing treason for firing on the United States of America. To be a traitor to your country, you have to be a citizen of that country. When our southern states seceded from the Union, they became a free, independent, and sovereign nation state. They were no longer part of the United States of America. Those seceded states came together and formed the Confederate States of America, a free and independent country. Abraham Lincoln illegally, unconstitutionally invaded the Confederate States of America. We fired on him in self-defense. If I approach you with a knife in my hand and tell you I mean to harm you and you shoot me, who is the aggressor? It would be me. Therefore, we need to know these things. We need to know the true history of our ancestors and what led to that struggle. We need to know why they seceded. It was not slavery. It was tariffs and many other issues from the North. It was due to a lot of northern states not fulfilling their constitutional obligations to the other states. There are a lot of things going on. I can't tell you about all of them today because I'd be up here for 2 hours and Andrew Johnson would never allow me to do that. He's giving me the skunk eye right now. But you need to know these things. The best service you can render to your Confederate ancestor, be you male or female, be you a Confederate descendant or just somebody that loves the South and loves the true history, educate yourself on the things that were going on in the North and the South leading up to the war. Educate yourself on the United States Constitution. Educate yourself on the Confederate States of America Constitution, and you will be able to tell anybody who believes the damn Yankee lie that they're a fool for believing it and not doing their own research. Be careful. Don't call anybody out unless you can back it up. You can't back it up till you do the research. Do the research. Educate yourself. Educate others. And thank you again for being here today.
Thank you, Bill. Bill is a historian for the division now. So maybe if you need a good speaker to come up to your camp, talk about some good history, Bill is doing that for the whole division. Also today we've got our second lieutenant commander of the state of North Carolina division, Mr. Andrew Johnson, ex-military man, ex-commander of a camp, and now he's moved up to the second lieutenant of the state. Andrew, if you would, come forward.
Thank you, LG. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for this opportunity to come and speak today. It is great to see so many people standing out here in honor of their ancestors, because that's what it's all about. I'd like to just begin my remarks with a poem, and it's called The Volunteer by Elbridge Jefferson Cutler. At dawn, he said, I bid them all farewell, to go where bugles call and rifles gleam. And with this restless thought, asleep, he fell and he glided into a dream. A great hot plain from sea to mountain spread, and through it a level river slowly drawn. He moved with a vast crowd, and at its head streamed banners like the dawn. And then came a blinding flash and a thunderous roar, and dissonant cries of both triumph and defeat. Blood trickled down the reedy shores to the river, and with the dead he lay. The morning broke into his slumber and broke into his solemn dream, and still, with steady pulse and deepening eye, Where bugles call, he said, and rifles gleam, I follow, though I die. When I originally read this poem, I couldn't help to think, but this is what was the thought of many of our Confederate ancestors. See, they left the safety of both hearth and home. They left the love of their families and the friendship of their neighbors. Now, they didn't leave on some wild pursuit of both glory and of treasure. They left at the call and bequest of their beloved state of North Carolina. Tens of thousands of these men answered this call. Unfortunately, though, thousands never came back. You see, for they went where bugles called and where rifles gleamed, and then they remained silent on the fields and on the forest where they fell, so far away from home. To their sacrifice and memory, we erected both statues and memorials, so that their memory never perishes and that their sacrifice always remains within our hearts. 150 years later, the war for our hearts and minds has once again erupted. Ignorant and malicious foes have sprung up within our communities, demanding that these tributes to our sacred dead be torn down and destroyed. They deny the true history and the story behind these memorials and these monuments. Instead, they scream and banter around as if they are consumed by madness caused by some disease. In a few instances, they've actually succeeded with their dastardly plans. However, they awoke within us, each and every one of you all that stand here today, that sense of pride and self-determination. And so we stand here today. We stand on the front lines just as our Confederate ancestors did. We no longer fear the sting of shot and shell, but yet our commitment is just as strong. Just as our ancestors would not bow their knee to a tyrannical government, neither shall we bow to these ignorant fools who dare demand to take down our statues and, more importantly, try to destroy our beloved flag. As this flagpole stands, with its banner of both history and our heritage, along with many others, let us look upon it with the same pride that our ancestors did, and let it steel our hearts, so that on this ground and within our beloved Southland, we will not be swayed. God bless our efforts, and God bless the South.
Thank you, Andrew. At the present time, how about Mike Clark coming forward? Mike, you'll come forward. And Alan, I think you can get your guys on the way. Let me tell you about what it takes to get a flag up. 3 weeks ago, Smitty Smith came to me or called me and he said, I got a good opportunity to put up a mega flag. He says, does your camp want to do it? And I knew in my head that this thing cost about $3,000 at the least. So we took a deep breath and said yes. But Smitty put out on Facebook and around and asked for donations. We got donations. In fact, I'm going to go over a few of them. Chris Freeman, the Thomasville Rifles, 172. The Mechanized Cavalry Boys put in a good hunk of money. We had the George W.D. Pender Camp of Wilson, North Carolina. We had Jerry Austin of Charlotte, North Carolina. We had Harold K. Roberts of Salisbury. We had Smitty Smith And the backbone of this thing is a couple, Jeannie and Barry Cook. They own the property. They give a hell of a donation other than the property. So we cleared this flag, got extra money. In fact, I got a check just came in from Larry Bradley and the Mechanized Cavalry in the mountains. But this check will be held over to the next mega flag. We're going to hold it in reserve. That's what we get today. So somebody's going to get a pretty good running start of a new flag. So we want a mega flag. We're not asking for one out here on the back of the road. We're asking for a new mega flag. We're going to talk about the Burke Tigers. The Burke Tigers came out of Burke County, right here in this area where you're standing on today. In May of 1861, Robert E. Lee sent a message to the gentleman down 64 out of North Carolina, out of Morganton. He said, how about forming me a group of men that can shoot real well? And so his name is Elijah Kirksey. How did he know Elijah Kirksey before the Civil War started? Elijah Kirksey fought with him in the Mexican-American War, and they were good friends. And he sent the message to Elijah Kirksey, and they formed a regiment of 170 men that left here for the war. They were in all the major battles. You see a lot of them here. I'm going to name some of them. If I can find them all here today, there's so many that they participated in. But anyhow, they were at Seven Pines. They were at Gaines Mill. They were at Manassas. They were at Michaelsville, Cedar Run, Seven Pines, Coe Harbor, Sharpsburg, Bull Run, Harper's Ferry, Fredericksburg, Chancellorsburg, Gettysburg, and the Wilderness. Out of these men in the 4 years of battle, 18 were killed in action. 40 died of diseases. 75 of them were locked up in prisons at the end of the war. And when they gave up at Appomattox, out of the Burke Tigers, they had 8 men at Appomattox. So that's some of their record. And this is the flag that they carried. Likewise, they had 2 flags that they had. This one here was captured at Gettysburg and given back to the U.S. military after the war. They had 1 flag that they carried that was never captured. So right here where you're standing, boys, there's men that was in 2 or 3 miles of this area that went to fight for the Burke Tigers. So we're naming this pole the Burke Tigers and remember them. Not our camp, but the men of this regiment. They fought long and hard. I had one ancestor that fought in the 16th. He came back, survived the war. But that's a little bit about the Burke Tigers, and one of these days you're going to see their name up on the side of this pole. We honor them for what they've done over the years and their heritage. And I know they'd be proud of it today. Thank you, Mike. Okay, some of the generals they fought under. They started under Wade Hampton. They was in Robert E. Lee. They fought under Stonewall Jackson. They was there when he got killed. They was in John Elroy. He's out in North Carolina general. General W.D. Pender, A.P. Hill. And the last big battle is A.M. Scales. So they fought with some of the top generals in the Confederacy. So they were well known. And Lee called them up sometime. He said, get the Burke Tigers and bring them forward. We need them. So we thank you for that. Okay, I think our Mechanized Cavalry's got a little presentation to give. If you come forward, boys.
This is our newest member of Mechanized Cavalry. He got sworn in the Army
Yeah, this is one of our newest members. I'm repeating what Alan's saying here. And he is getting his certificate today from the Mechanized Cavalry of the state of North Carolina. Okay, folks, now the honor guard and the cannon fire is getting ready to commence. But when we get through, we all want to sing Dixie. I may not be back on the stage in, but we're going to look forward to cannon fire. The honor guard will be fired as soon as I get there with us. And we'll sing Dixie if I can get anybody else to sing over the mic. All right. Dixie. Oh, I wish I was in the land of cotton. Oh, I'm there. God, look away. Look away. Look away, Dixieland. In Dixieland, where I was born. Early on the frosty morn. Look away. Look away. Look away, Dixieland. And I wish I was in Dixie. Hooray. Hooray. In Dixieland, I'll take my stand. Away, away, away down south Dixie. Away, away, away down south in Dixie. Woo! I appreciate everybody coming. Have a good, safe trip home. I'm looking for another camp to put up a mega flag. Let's go, boys. Let's don't stop. Need one up somewhere. God bless you. And God bless Dixie. Dylan.